The battlefield was silent now, but the echoes of chaos still lingered. Smoke curled into the sky in thin, ghostly streams, carrying with it the acrid scent of burning metal and scorched earth. Amid the wreckage, a figure moved with trembling steps, her body battered and bleeding. She was alone, her once glorious armor dented and scorched, her breath shallow as she struggled to remain conscious. Her species, known for their pride and resilience, had been caught in a war they were losing. Many had fled, leaving behind the wounded and the weak. She had tried to follow her comrades, but her injuries made even the simplest movements agony. Every muscle screamed, every step threatened collapse. The world around her was alien and unwelcoming, yet she refused to surrender to the creeping darkness at the edge of her vision. Hours passed, or perhaps days. Time had lost its meaning. The stars wheeled above her in indifferent silence, and the cold night gnawed at her exposed skin. She pressed herself against the broken hull of a fallen ship, seeking what little shelter it could offer. Her mind wandered to memories of home, of green fields and soft winds, of laughter and warm things she might never see again, just when despair began to weigh heavier than her injuries. A sound pierced the silence. It was soft at first, almost imperceptible, like the hum of a distant engine. She turned her head, struggling against the pain, and saw a small craft descending through the smoky sky. Its design was unfamiliar, sleek and angular, yet somehow elegant. It hovered close to the ground, and a hatch opened. A figure stepped out, human. He moved carefully, scanning the area with sharp, intelligent eyes. Unlike her own kind, humans were often underestimated. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, yet they possessed a persistence and ingenuity that others could not match, even from a distance. She could sense it, a quiet strength that did not demand attention, but earned respect. He approached her slowly, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. She wanted to recoil, to lash out, but her body betrayed her. The human crouched beside her, examining her wounds with surprising care. He spoke in soft tones, a language she did not understand, but the intent was unmistakable. She did not resist. Somehow, instinct told her she could trust this one. Lifting her gently, the human carried her back to his craft. The interior was warm and bright, filled with strange devices and blinking lights. He laid her on a soft surface and began tending to her injuries with a precision and patience she had never encountered. Her species valued efficiency and strength, often at the expense of gentleness. But this human worked slowly, carefully, almost as if he understood that healing was not merely about mending flesh, but about restoring hope. Time passed differently in that sanctuary. Days melted into nights as he cared for her, speaking softly, offering water and nourishment, checking each wound again and again. At first she was wary, unsure of what he wanted in return for his kindness. She had been abandoned by her own, left to die without question. Why would this human care? Yet, slowly, she began to trust him. Small gestures a hand offered when she needed support. A blanket draped over her shivering form became a bridge between her despair and hope. Her recovery was gradual. She learned to sit upright, then to walk with the aid of his support. Each step was a victory, each breath less painful than the last. He never pressured her, never demanded more than she could give. There was a dignity in his patience, a respect for life that was alien to her species, but comforting nonetheless. One day, as she watched the human working on the controls of his craft, she realized something profound. He did not act out of duty, nor expectation of reward. He acted because he could, because it was the right thing to do. She had heard tales of humans who persevered against impossible odds, who reached out even when others turned away. Now, she saw it firsthand. They were fragile, yes, but resilient beyond measure. When she was finally able to stand unaided, the human helped her to the observation deck. The war-torn landscape stretched before them, a scarred reminder of the conflict she had survived. She inhaled the cold air, feeling the strength returning to her limbs, and then she understood. She was not saved simply by medicine or skill. She was saved by the human's belief in her worth, his refusal to abandon her when all others had. Days later, she joined him on a mission to retrieve survivors from nearby settlements. They moved through ruins together, her agility complementing his ingenuity. She was faster, stronger, capable of feats her species had always prized. Yet he was clever, adaptable, able to navigate dangers that would have overwhelmed anyone else. Together they became a team, each compensating for the other's limitations, each learning from the other's strengths. During a brief respite, she asked him a question in his language, careful, hesitant. He smiled and replied, the words strange but welcoming. She could not repeat them yet, but the meaning was clear. It was simple. You are not alone. The realization struck her with unexpected force. She had been abandoned and wounded, left to die. Yet here she stood, alive, because a human had chosen to care. Her species often saw themselves as superior, yet it was this human's empathy, his courage, his quiet determination that had saved her. He had risked his life for someone not his own, for someone he barely knew, and in doing so had shown her a new path where strength was measured not only in power, but in compassion. The war still raged beyond the edges of their small sanctuary, but she faced it differently now. No longer alone, no longer broken, she understood that survival was not merely about enduring pain, but about embracing allies, about recognizing the value in every life. And as she looked at the human who had saved her, she felt a flicker of something she had not known in a long time: hope. Together, they moved forward, navigating the remnants of a shattered world. Each encounter with danger tested them, yet they adapted, using their unique abilities to overcome impossible odds. She grew stronger, not only in body but in spirit, learning patience, ingenuity, and empathy from her human companion. In turn, he learned from her resilience, her courage, her refusal to surrender, even when all seemed lost in the end. The story of her survival became more than a tale of being wounded and abandoned. It became a testament to the unexpected greatness of humans, their capacity to care, to endure, and to inspire. She knew that wherever the universe took them next, she would face it not as a lone survivor, but as part of a partnership that had been forged through adversity, trust, and mutual respect. The stars shone above as their craft ascended, leaving behind the ruins of a war that had claimed so much. She gazed out at the cosmos, feeling a quiet determination. She would not forget the human who had saved her, nor the lessons he had taught her. Strength alone was not enough. Compassion, courage, and the willingness to act even when all hope seemed lost, these were what truly defined greatness. And so, the journey continued, two unlikely companions moving through the galaxy, proving that, even in the darkest of times, humanity could shine brighter than any weapon, any armor, any technology. They were a reminder that survival was not enough. To endure, to uplift, to protect this was the essence of true power. The wounded had been abandoned, but the human had discovered her, and in doing so had changed the course of her life forever. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a testament to what humans could inspire: hope, courage, and an unyielding belief in life itself. The galaxy stretched before them, full of peril, full of wonders. And for the first time in her life, she faced it with unwavering confidence, because she had learned that the greatest strength in the universe was not in might, but in the heart that refused to abandon another.